Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of I Know Good and Goddamn Well the United States is not operating like a civilized society. So today I called Hennepin County, and first of all, I was on hold for an hour and then got connected to the wrong department and then was on hold for another 30 minutes until I reached the appropriate department. And that's not even the worst of it. I've been on hold for 3 hours before with Hennepin County. And I applied for cash assistance. So there is this new qualification for food stamps that you have to be working like 40 hours or something on minimum wage to be able to qualify for food stamps or the equivalent of something else. They made people do a whole bunch of fucking math, basically. Something about 20 to 40 hours, something about basic income, and then something times some bullshit. Doesn't apply to me. But the fact that you have to jump through those kinds of hoops to be able to get on food stamps is absolutely fucking ridiculous. But I'm exempt from all that because I'm homeless. And the case manager wants to get my medical documentation or a medical opinion form because even though she doesn't know this for a fact, it sounds as though she is very confident that they might be removing the homelessness exemption from being able to receive food stamps without meeting the employment requirement. So there really is a big push for me to get a medical exemption form in, or I'm sorry, a medical opinion form in to be covered by the medical exemption in case they remove the homelessness exemption. I don't really have words for the possibility and the confidence even that they would remove the homelessness exemption. Because homelessness itself is an employment barrier, regardless of why you're homeless and what conditions you're homeless in. You can't convince me that the United States is a civilized society when we live in a society that is operated by a government that believes that people deserve to suffer for any given situation that they can be in. We already have all of this mutual aid going around for people to not be able to even cover their medical bills. And they need mutual aid while they wait for their food stamps and assistance or SSI or whatever to come through because the government takes too long. Like, the slowness of the federal government trickles down into the rest of the local municipalities. So there are people that need to ask for mutual aid while they wait on Section 8 already. There's people that need to ask for mutual aid while they wait on like their food stamps or their disability or whatever else. And now they are making what is supposed to be general assistance, which is supposed to have a much greater margin for people to be able to sign up, akin to signing up for disability, because now they're requiring the medical paperwork, which isn't supposed to be a requirement if you're covered by those other exemptions. And that's supposed to be the difference between GA and disability. So yeah, I don't even though I waited like almost 2 hours for these people, which also shouldn't be a fucking thing, especially not for as big as the Hennepin County Department Human Services is. I might not go through with it because then it's up to the county and any given person in the county to decide that my disability is valid to give me the food stamps. I mean, not the food stamps, I already have food stamps. Give me the cash assistance. And I also found out the caseworker told us that they release cash assistance at the end of the month, like the second to last day of the month. So they make sure they give it to people before the first of the month. And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, I guess that's a good strategy if you need help paying rent. But if you need help paying rent, there are there are things specifically for helping pay rent that are supposed to help prevent homelessness. But I see those things are falling apart as well. But a lot of other expenses kick in, like utilities and whatnot, if people have their card on direct withdrawal and shit. But it's like, if you're homeless, you don't need that. You don't have utilities. But this whole I'm just like, just fucking dumbstruck by how broken this whole thing is, and yet there are people who insist that we live in a civilized society. A civilized society doesn't do this to people. A civilized society does not have people waiting on hold for hours to receive public assistance. And I'm tired of these things being referred to as benefits. There's nothing beneficial about having to report all of your changes to the government, and then the government entities can take 4 hours to answer the phone and still have to have a process in between 3 and 30 days, and just all of this bullshit. There's nothing beneficial about having to do business with the United States government. So let's call it what it is. It's assistance. It's welfare. Whatever the fuck you want to call it, but we're not calling it benefits. Because there's no benefit to needing these things in the first place, because it's poverty, and there's no benefit to being in poverty. And then the government wants to do everything they can to make sure people who can receive these assistances are as limited as possible. Now they want people to have a medical exemption to sign up for general cash assistance, which we're not supposed to be doing in the first place, which is the point of general cash assistance, separate from disability. Waiting lists for Section 8 in some areas is 2 years. In other areas is up to 8 years. Like, what the only thing you can really get is food stamps. And now they're trying to do everything they can to limit who can be on food stamps. Meanwhile, we're sending how many billions of dollars to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan? Like, we have all this money for these other countries, but we want to penny pinch and tightwad homeless people and disabled people and people who need youth programs and after school programs. Like, they got rid of after school programs a long time ago. And then people complained when more teens were causing mischief. Well, they had nowhere to go. It's just, this country is a wreck. Like, this whole American empire thing, the wheels are falling off. Like, the engine is starting to implode. Like, this is the end of this. Because you can't turn your back on your citizens and expect everything to be hunky-dory. And there are so many people that are still into this Red Scare propaganda, but like, the Red Scare propaganda population is shrinking. Like, there are more people who are into, like, yeah, socialism, yeah, communism, because the way we're doing things now ain't gonna fix shit. So yeah, I said all that to say Jasmine Sherman 2024.